Are you looking for peace of mind at your doorstep? Look no further. With the Blink Video Doorbell, your home's entrance is always within your control. Check out the link in the video description to learn more and get your Blink Video Doorbell on Amazon. Your home is in your hands.
Was it terrifying ignorance or outrageous cynicism? Either would explain the recent remark by J.D. Vance, Donald Trump's new pick for vice president, that Britain is now effectively an Islamist state. What is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon? Vance wondered, during a speech at the National Conservatism Conference in Washington, D.C. last week. His answer was the UK, now that Labour has won power. It seems scarcely plausible that this bright graduate of Yale Law School actually believes that Sir Keir Starmer's victory this month puts us on a par with Iran, Afghanistan or Pakistan. But Vance's remarks are not based on fact. They reflect prejudice, partly recycled from hard-right scaremongers in Britain, and partly designed to appeal to similar sentiments in the U.S. They also fit squarely into the Trump campaign's America First worldview, in which allies, even Britain, are seen as unreliable freeloaders. Rather than expecting leadership and protection from the United States, the message goes, these countries should look to their own security. Fix your borders. Sort out your defense. Don't expect us to bail you out, or protect you when the invaders come knocking. Trump and his team see the world in bleak, dog-eat-dog terms. Every country should put its national interest first. Every dollar or bullet that goes to allies is one less for the vital task of defending the U.S. Make no mistake, Vance's appointment is a black day for European security and bad news for the rules-based international order. Trump's new running mate likes to highlight the principle of scarcity. America does not have enough weapons for its own defense, he told a stunned audience at the Munich Security Conference earlier this year. It, therefore, cannot afford to send any more to Ukraine, which is fighting what he calls a border war, where no American interest is at stake. Vance sees the conflagration in Ukraine as an unwinnable distraction. That beleaguered country will pay the most immediate price if Vance and Trump win the White House in just over 100 days' time. But we in Britain will be living in a much more dangerous world, too. The Atlantic Charter, forged between U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt and Winston Churchill in the darkest days of World War II, and exemplified by the D-Day landings of 1944 and the Berlin airlift of 1948, has kept us safe for decades. We have benefited hugely from our position as America's closest military ally, on everything from access to high-tech weapons to intelligence sharing. While we have a nuclear deterrent, we have scrimped on defense, like most other NATO countries, knowing that in a crisis Uncle Sam will have our backs. That looks unlikely now. The dithering of President Joe Biden's administration and last year's political deadlock in Congress over aid to Ukraine have undermined U.S. credibility. Trump is ready to wield the death blow. If he wins on November 5th, America could abandon its role as the world's policeman and champion of freedom and democracy in every hemisphere. What might that mean in practice? Assume that Vance gets his way and Vladimir Putin bludgeons Ukraine into accepting a ceasefire. According to intelligence estimates, Russia would be ready to wage a new war against a NATO country within as little as 2 years. The bleak truth is that the 32-country alliance, which has just celebrated its 75th anniversary, can defend itself only with the support of its biggest member, the U.S. True, many NATO allies have state-of-the-art fighter jets and warships to resist an onslaught from the east. But these weapons will be useless once their high-tech munitions run out. The Kremlin may hope that Russia can win a war with the West once it has withstood the early barrage. Worse, most NATO countries lack air defenses to deal with the bombs and missiles now raining down on Ukraine. Britain's 1,000-strong force in Estonia, for example, is a sitting duck if Russia chooses to target the Baltic states. If Putin tries to menace Britain, we are vulnerable, too. A recent report described our air and missile defenses as negligible. If any of our Type 45 destroyers are working and in home waters, they might be able to protect London. Our 6 Sky Sabre short-range systems could defend a handful of vital military and infrastructure targets. Beyond that, we would suffer the same, or